Hey, everybody, welcome to the 50th episode of How to Build a Game Studio. We're now on video, so you can see everybody here. Uh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll
Almost
find
certainly
out.
horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been the biggest mistake we've ever made in our lives. Um,
Stare picking my nose the whole time.
that's I expected nothing less. So I am Trevor Oz. I'm joined today, obviously, by Kent,
Ow!
studio head, and he's
Hi.
already hurting himself on camera for
God,
everybody to see.
it hurts. I
And
just
then we're
like
also
punched my
joined
tower. Ouch.
by Mr. Jack Steele,
What's up, guys?
and you can see his sweet Gears of War wall scroll in the background.
And Batten Kaitos, I
Hey,
think it
what's the other
is.
one?
Yeah,
What's the other
yeah,
one?
that's it.
Yeah.
It is Batten Kaitos. It's an underrated game. It was very good.
I think I got that one from Kent, as a matter of fact. I think you might have
I
gotten
think,
it from
yeah,
old
from
EB
EB.
games for me.
Yeah, I could see that. And then finally, we have our artist extraordinaire, Moody.
What's up, guys?
Mr.
Some
Vanity down there. He is actually portraying his own art behind him.
No, you see his hands. It's like I'm like, this is my cry for help. I'm like trying to blink Morse code, like get help, help,
Please, please.
please. This man is breathing heavily on my back.
He doesn't look nice.
Yeah.
Like twice if they're making you do more art.
Yes. Yes, they are. And by they, it is me.
Yeah.
Kent is the they in this scenario. Uh, so for episode 50, we're going to go through our favorite games of the 2020 year, the year that was, the year that lasted a couple lifetimes, or at least it felt that way to a lot of people. But we had a lot of fun playing some games in 2020, and we're going to go with a top five list. In previous years, we've gone with top tens, but there's more of us this time. We've doubled the number of people who usually do these. So to keep us from doing a like 3 hour show, we've decided to cut that number down to our each of our top fives. Um, so we'll just get started with that. So Kent, number five on Kent's top games of 2020. What you got?
Number five. There's actually this is gonna be a controversial one, but
Ooh.
Cyberpunk.
Right out
Yes.
the
So
gate.
What?
yeah, I know. I was just so I know. I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I played Cyberpunk on my Series X, and overall, I actually had a pretty good time. I did run into one major issue. Well, I shouldn't say major. I had one blocker issue which prevented me from completing a side quest, which, as a completionist, I found pretty annoying. But other than that, it actually ran really well for me. I didn't really have, I don't even know all the crazy bugs that people had, but solid frame rate, looked good, played well. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, it definitely wasn't I wouldn't say it was like a masterpiece, like Witcher 3, for example, was up there. Um and but I liked the story, the like the minute to minute gameplay felt pretty good, even if it was a little meh. Like, in my mind, I would equate it to a Far Cry game. Like, it's kind of, I was just kind of like,
Yeah, I can see that.
go over here, do my thing, kill a bunch of people, finish what that side quest, mostly because it was on my map, and I was like, oh hey, a side quest. The like core story was really good. I really enjoyed that, like all the main things, and then there was a couple, quests here and there that really kind of stood out. Um, but yeah, I thought it was fun. I do wish. I think in my mind, one of the biggest things they could have done to kind of improve the game would be the city did not need to be as big as it was. The city did not need as many like kind of pointless side quests. Like, if they would have had a more focused, almost Deus Ex style of experience, I think it would have been better. It would have been higher on my list. Um, but as it is, like I said, it's my top five of the year. I really enjoyed it, and I would be surprised if they continue with it just after all this craziness. But I think the first Witcher was rough. I'm not like it was cool, but it was
Yeah.
rough. It would be interesting to see what they could do a couple more games and kind of like, I'm sure, hit that what was kind of like what they wanted in the first place, a fully realized version of it. But yeah, as it was, I enjoyed it and it made my top 5, so it couldn't have been too bad.
I just
All
want to
right.
say that it's also my 5 actually. So I'm just
Perfect.
gonna agree with you and say that yeah, they're just moments that for me, like once everything clicked and it wasn't about the glitches and everything, there were moments where I was so sold on the world, just the environment and how they to me just there was like a grittiness to it and the environment with the characters and the designs. But like you said, this does kind of give like it's their first try with this and they're figuring it out. But when everything kind of clicked, I was really into the world and I just love the aesthetic. I'm also like I am a fan, I guess, of the cyberpunk genre, if that's what all this is called.
Mhm.
But I'll be real with you guys, like also like why I only have a five games is because I said I didn't really play too many games this year. So I didn't get too far in the story. I think I picked the I'm trying to remember who I picked. I think I picked I can't even tell you which path I picked, but yeah, I guess the same with Kansas. I just want to agree with you. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just I want everyone in the podcast to know that Boo is not currently on this podcast because he has some life stuff going on. But he did take the time to just send an image in the other thread on Teams that just
Here we
says
go.
Trevor is dead.
Trevor.
This is what we have to put up with sometimes while
is-
working.
It's
Trevor, I
That's
had
what-
no idea. When did this happen?
it had.
So yeah, sorry
I
for
wasn't
just.
gonna say anything.
I
but
wasn't laughing at you, Moody, what you were saying. I was laughing at this random message from Boo.
Is there a way for us to share this with people, like on the screen or something at some point?
No,
No,
we're not encouraging him.
Yeah. that takes a lot of work. Probably doesn't, but for us doing this on video for the first time, it'd probably take more work than it's probably worth. Uh, but so let's go to Jack.
Yeah. Oddly enough, my number 5 is also Cyberpunk.
No way.
Oh, well,
Yeah, that's really
Man,
weird.
we are going to fly through these top
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, maybe this won't take so long.
Yeah.
But and yeah, I also played it on the Series X, and I might have talked about it before, but yeah, I didn't run into that like any game breaking bugs. I might have mentioned the one where I was in like the like training simulator at the beginning, and like it spawned me in, and for some reason all the enemy like targets were just laying on the floor
Whoa.
like as soon as I spawned in, but it didn't like it was just like a weird bug that I noticed. Like I said, nothing game breaking, and I thought the gameplay was pretty fun. I also think there was a lot of sort of unnecessary areas and content that I was like, this is just kind of meh. But for like the main game and the story and everything, I thought it was fun.
Did any of you guys have the pants glitch? I did encounter that where my guy, his pants just wouldn't load, so I was just walking around and you could just like see his junk. It was
You're
just
really
there they are.
cyberpunking.
I was like,
Living
this
the free life.
seems unnecessary, but there I am. So that was funny for a short while, and it kind of made me feel like it was unnecessary to have the fully modeled. They could have done the shorts that like most games have. You have like kind of underwear, boxer brief type things, but
No, they took it
I
to
was
the
just
next level.
flapping
they
in the
go all the way.
wind. So that was
there
weird.
are no underwear in Cyberpunk, man. Everyone goes commando in that.
Yeah, that's true. That's why it's a dystopian future. Underwear is gone.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yep.
First, they outlawed underwear.
You heard it first, man. Everyone should start, instead of toilet paper, the next time something happens, just start stockpiling underwear. Just fill it to the ceiling. You'll thank us later.
Especially when they take it away. You've heard it here first on the How to Build a Game Studio podcast.
Also, only. You'll never hear that anywhere else. I can
Probably not,
almost guarantee that no one else is going to tell you to stockpile underwear.
I worry
Hey,
that
Ben.
you might be. I worry that you might be surprised, and that's not necessarily something
That's
I'm
true.
happy about. I'm just like, unfortunately, the internet's probably going to prove us wrong. But like,
So my number 5 was also no, it was not
Aw.
Cyberpunk.
Come on, Trevor,
I'm
be popular.
breaking the chain around here. No, I haven't actually played Cyberpunk because I would like to try it probably on PC, but I don't have a Series X or anything yet, so I just didn't have. I couldn't afford it at the time it came out, so I just never got into it. Plus, you hear all these problems, whether or not you encounter them is, you know, very up in the air. But because I heard about all the problems, I was like, I'm not in a hurry. I'll play it later. So I'll just, at some point I will play it. Probably once I actually get a Series X, or I'll play it on PC at some point. But my number 5 was a number 1 on a lot of lists that were going around, and that would be Hades, because Hades is really good. If you like the action like Diablo style game, but it has that rogue-like loop where you're constantly trying to survive and do it again and again. But I think Hades is unique because it actually does have a story as you're trying to progress, and literally each time you go back to the beginning, every person you talk to at the beginning is saying something different. Like there are voice lines and different dialogue every single time. Like I don't know how much dialogue they recorded for this game, but it's pretty amazing at the sheer number of stuff they did and stuff they put into it, and it helps build the world. It builds the world. It builds the characters that you run into throughout the game. So it actually does feel like it's an actual living, breathing world with these other characters in it that are trying to halt your progression or trying to help you along the way. So I thought Hades was very unique in that aspect. I didn't actually beat it because I didn't play enough of it, but it's definitely one of those that I need to go back and finish and play through because it's what they presented was a really good package. So and it's just fun to play too. Good gameplay, good story, great voice acting, great characters. I can see why it ended up with Game of the Year from a lot of people. So
I really want to play it. It's just like I at this point I can't put on the PC right now because this is where I work, so I like to separate those things. But maybe if it moves to consoles, I can't wait if it does. Is it going to?
it's on Switch
Probably
already,
will.
I do believe.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's on Switch. I'm not sure if it's come out for PlayStation or Xbox yet, but it's definitely on Switch.
Yeah.
So
It looks amazing.
I would highly recommend it. Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out. So I'll actually move into my number 4 because I don't know if anybody else has even played this game, and it's probably not going to be on a lot of people's lists elsewhere. I'm shouting out Marvel's Avengers.
Oh yeah.
I have not played it.
Yeah, me neither.
The game did come out this year. I understand where people might have like some issues and stuff like there are certain points where like yeah it doesn't run the best at times and stuff like that, but the core package of it, the actual single player story is very good in the game. So if you're into superhero movies and comic books and stuff like that, I think you'll really dig the story. The story that they do with Miss Marvel and the Avengers breaking up and you basically trying to get them back together and that sort of thing after a certain event is totally worth playing through. And I think the game's a lot of fun. And each Avenger plays different enough to where you'll kind of be able to pick and choose which Avenger you're best playing with and kind of and stick with that, and it feels unique enough to where uh, different Avengers feel like you're actually playing a different game with each. So
That's your controversial cyberpunk pick there, Trevor.
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
I guess
yeah,
so.
let's really play it.
Like I think a lot of it is that it's supposed to. I think a lot of people's complaints are that it's a games as a service game that doesn't have a lot of stuff to do once you beat the single player campaign. because a lot of the extraneous missions are very repetitive. I mean, they feel very very samey, so it's very much grinding stuff out at that point. But it is fun to play, so at least in that aspect, if you don't mind grinding and stuff like that, it is fun to go through even afterwards. But they're doing a good job of, at least with what they've released so far. Like, I hear the Kate Bishop DLC is very good and it's free. So if they keep doing stuff like that, I think it can hopefully bring an audience back into it. But it's hard to say. There's so many of those games that want to be like games of service that it's like not all of them will find an audience because there's just so many out there. Like,
I mean, because they're competing at the same time, right? If you're like, let's say, I guess someone's playing Destiny, they have to argue to, I guess, a Destiny player. Not that it's the same, but be like, you should play us instead, right?
Right. Yeah. So if you're playing Destiny, if you're playing the Division 2, or even like Gears of War 5, if you're playing any of those games that continually update, you might just be stuck on one of those, or maybe even two of those if that's your thing, and you're not gonna diverge from that because you have so much time already invested in those other ones. So it's like why am I gonna jump from here to there? But if you have the chance, you can find Avengers cheap enough. I think I got it for like $15. So
not bad.
yeah, like it was like on GameFly's end of the year sale for like $15. So I was like, all right, I'll play it. And it's totally worth playing through the single player game, for sure, because the story's really good. So
I'm gonna toot our own horn here a little bit, in the fact that I always actually really enjoy our Game of the Year discussions, because a lot of times other Game of the Years like are all the same thing in very slightly different order, and a lot of times ours, we always have these kind of like total outfield picks that's like, oh huh, either because no one's heard of it or because like it's a big controversial game, and the internet is like, oh, I hate it, oh.
yeah.
But like, I've always liked hearing, I like when people enjoy games. I like enjoying games. I don't care what other people say. So it's always cool hearing these kind of like not what other people would pick. Like, I don't think Marvel Avengers is on a lot of lists. I don't think Cyberpunk is on a lot of lists, but clearly we all enjoyed these games. So
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just, I think sometimes people try to pick stuff apart too much. Like they almost over criticize in a sense, and have a hard time finding the fun in some stuff. But I think for me too, it's like I'm a big comic book guy and a big MCU like film and now TV, I guess, watcher. So like having something that's from that realm, even though it's slightly different, and having a good story behind it attracts me. So it might not probably not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, I really enjoyed it. So so let's go to Moody. Moody, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is The Last of Us 2. And I'll be, I'm to be honest and be fair right now, the more I look at my list, because it also essentially like I feel like I got 7, but I'm always kind of like, I feel like depending on my mood, I'll like switch around. But let's just stick with this, The Last of Us 2. And I know, like, I'll start first with the whole controversy and all that. So, like, the way I always say it to some of my friends is I have some friends who come to me and they'll be like, bro, I was like, I love this game so much. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I get it. And then I also have the other friends who are like, bro, I cannot stand this game. I'm like, I get it. Like, and like, I think even the director said that it was supposed to be a divisive game. I think he definitely achieved it. And I found that I actually was really fascinated with the whole, like, I wonder if it was like, if people say like it's COVID and us being like stuck in, but I've always wondered like that conversation around it, like was such a fascinating thing that occurred with the game. But like for me personally, like I said, when it comes to the combat in this game, I don't know if you guys have played, but this combat was so good, and this game visually it's insane how good this looks.
Oh yeah, it looks really good, and for the combat, like I'm not sure. I didn't really care that much for the combat in the first one, but I've heard the second one combat is a lot better. So
like I mean, like I guess I'm trying to figure out how to break this down. Like on a visceral level, so they really wanted to push the violence. So like when you like stab people or kill them, like the sounds they make and like the way things get punctured or broken. Like they really they really went into it. There's like a
It
it's in the,
appeals to Moody's inner serial killer.
yeah, I guess, yeah. Like I said, you wanted us to play violent. I'm like, yeah, like I'm telling you right now. I think I said this before, but the moment they gave you an explosive arrow, I said, dude, I turned to Rambo. I said, give me the red ribbon. I'm gonna just go blow up
I
everything.
remember having this conversation
Oh,
with
yeah.
Moody before.
I was just like, just blowing up everything. But like the visuals in this game, man, I cannot get over how good it was. And I think for me, if I just had to kind of just talk again about the whole situation that went with it, I think that from based on everyone I've heard on both sides, like there's obviously two perspectives on this game. I don't want to spoil the game also. That's why I'm trying to be like really vague. But like it seems to me like if the core story does catch you, it's gonna be that game where you're like, oh my god, you're like kind of floored. But like this game does challenge these themes, but I want to say that I personally feel like these themes have existed and have been like something that's explored. So depending on like let's say what you like in your stories, this could be from like TV and movies. If that core thing doesn't necessarily grab you, it's gonna be one of those things where you're gonna be like, I had a good time, or maybe you didn't, but like it's one of those. But apart from that, I still say that people should try the game and just kind of see for yourself how you feel about it. But I just find it fascinating. Yeah.
I plan to play it. Like I bought it. I just
Oh, okay.
haven't actually played through it yet. So I got it when it was on sale at some point. But I just haven't gotten a chance to actually sit down and play it. So
You guys saying that the gameplay is better actually has me kind of interested, because I know it's blasphemy to say, but and I know I have a lot of friends at Naughty Dog, both like currently at Naughty Dog and previously at Naughty Dog, that are going to be pissed at me for saying this, but I did not like The Last of Us, the first one. Like, I was interested in the characters, I was interested in the world. Like, I played, I think, up through kind of the first major, I guess, event. Like, again, I won't spoil anything. Like, I left Boston, like I played, I don't remember how many hours I played, but like the minute to minute gameplay was so bad. It felt so bad to me. Like, it was somehow both flighty and like restrictive at the same time, which I have no idea, but like, you know, it was like the contextual stealth, and like I would be sneaking up to do a thing, and then for whatever reason my character would just stand up, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, why are you doing this? And then the enemies are like, there they are, and you know, I'm throwing bricks at people, and so like that really bothered me. And it's one of those games that I always want to go back and play, but every time I pick it back up, I'm just like, like it's so important that it feels good while I'm playing it to me. And so you guys saying that, I didn't really have much interest in it in the game, just because of kind of the bad taste the first one left in my mouth. But like, if they can get that level of gameplay and story and characters, but you know, the actual like combat and gameplay is good, then maybe I'll check it out now.
I'll say this, yeah, because like I'm trying to guess from what you're saying, like if you should like not, and it doesn't mean like just like definitely try it or like maybe borrow it first. Because I'll say this, the one thing that I personally had an issue was the amount of actual gameplay and action. Like they do this thing of they kind of dangle it a lot towards you, and when you get, you're really happy. But then as you kind of play, you realize I'm like, oh, there is actually isn't that much of it. But when it happens, it's so much fun. And I just wish
they
there
did
was
a Metal Gear 4.
Yeah, I just wish there was way more action in the game, or like that freedom, because like there's a lot of because for me also, like this is just a personal thing. When I like replaying games, there are a lot of things like, okay, if you've been through the cutscenes, you kind of just hit start and they kind of skip. But almost so many cutscenes are you just walking, and I'm just like, so there's like a lot of like, oh no, dude, I just kind of want to not be here anymore. And
the old walk and talk.
Yeah, the walk and talk, and
that's
like
loading.
yeah,
I
and
guarantee they're loading stuff
you're
while
trying to
that
like
happens.
walk in angles just to get across the room, or like but yeah, and me personally, I have to say that I don't think the characters were as strong as the first one. But like I said, give it a shot. Like I say, because like I won't say anything too far, but like I said, I have a joke with a few friends where I'm not even sure, like some of the characters, we're not even sure who they were after a while. Like I remember they revealed like a character, and I was like, I don't even know who that is. I was like, who are you talking about?
It's like a huge twist, and Moody's like, what? Who?
Yeah, or something. They're like, they got him. I was like, who did I get him? I was like, did I do that?
Did I kill him?
Did I do that? Because like I was
Was
like,
he
I
my
was
friend?
shooting everybody, so I was like, it must have been me, I guess. I was like,
The deep emotional impact they were going for was definitely lost on Moudy, who was
Yeah.
just Ramboing through everything.
yeah, but like, I just want, I wish I could remember it, but they're like these characters you've seen in the cutscenes where they're kind of like using bows and stuff. But I wish I could remember the channel. But someone actually did a breakdown where like this is the cool little details they do, where they do this whistling hunter style like whistling to communicate, and someone actually broke down the language so that if you listen to what he said, you can actually understand that they're actually literally communicating. It's not just like, Hollywood smoke and mirrors, just like, oh, they whistled, so they must have said, "How are you today?" Like they actually have like a code, which was pretty awesome.
You
That's
whistled
Yeah.
cool
twice to
touch.
say, "How are you today?"
Yeah, because that's that's definitely what
It's
they do when they're
important,
hunting.
very important when hunting.
Some guys like sitting there being like, "Man, the deer hasn't come. I'm gonna ask my friend, how you doing?" It's like, but yeah, so that's my number 4.
All right. Jack, how about you? What you got for number 4?
Number 4 on the list for me was Wasteland 3. I
Oh, yeah.
It probably would have been higher if I was able to put more time into it because it is a really good game. But from the little I played of it, I really liked it. It was one of the like strong tactical RPGs that came out this year.
Yeah, I love In Exiles. Pretty much all their games. I really love that studio. I feel like that's one of the. I know a lot of people. It's not like their number one for all the Microsoft acquisitions, but that was like one of the biggest excitements for me because
Yeah, I was really excited to hear that.
they put out fairly niche titles, but like they all tick all of my boxes. Like perfect tactical RPGs, kind of like old school dungeon crawlers, like that CRPG style. Like they're great. And yeah, it's higher up on my list as well, but it's excellent.
I figured, yeah.
All right. What about you, Kent? What do you got?
So my number 4, I was actually surprised. I don't know if it flew under everyone's radar or just mine. But it's a game called Monster Train, and I it's from the guys that did wow, totally blank, Slay the Spire.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
realize that
okay.
was the same company.
I'm
It was
pretty
the same studio
it's either the same studio or
or the same publisher, maybe.
yeah, like a pretty close copy of the game, but like it's actually a really similar game, but the reason I liked it so much was they like Slay the Spire was great, but the randomness was too much. Like whether you had a perfect run or like a absolutely disastrous run would be based on like one thing that you couldn't possibly foresee until like the last part of the spire. Like, you could build this deck up to be like a really great, like almost infinite play deck, and then you find out that the boss on the third floor is more powerful when you have every time you play a card, basically, and you're like, oh well, I lost. Like that sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. You just lost. Um, so while I really liked Slay the Spire, I had a lot of gripes with that. And Monster Train basically it's really similar, but it kind of fixed a lot of that crap. Where like at the beginning you kind of see what the bosses are, like so oh, this guy, if I build a deck like this guy's gonna beat me, and there's literally no way around it. So you could actually try different things, and I felt like it was a little more. For me, Slay the Spire had like here is the tactic for each hero that works. Everything else sucks. Like as long as assuming you're not playing on a really easy run through, you pretty much have to use this for each character. Whereas Monster Train, I felt was a little better balanced. There's still a few things that are kind of annoying about it, but overall, I just really enjoyed the game. I play, and it's great because like takes like an hour or so, a little less to run through, a full run. So it's been great that I can actually play.
Yeah, so with Monster Train, had we had a top 10 list, it was my number 9.
Oh, nice! I'm glad to see you played it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think it was Laurent or Laurent. Sorry, I always want to say Laurent over at
Chainsaw Awesome.
Chainsaw Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, he posted something about it, and it was in Game Pass.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, you got pretty good taste. I'll check it out. And yeah, like so glad that I did because it was really good. And yeah, like I said, I like deck builders a lot, and they did away a lot with a lot of the kind of absolute random crap that kind of hurt Slay the Spire for me. And yeah, I just like I said, I'm a little surprised because of how big, especially Slay the Spire was. And like you heard so much about it. Like I heard almost nothing about Monster Train.
I heard a little bit about it on some podcasts, but not a lot. So yeah, it's kind of it kind of almost fell under the radar, even though it's on Game Pass. So literally, if you're on Game Pass, go check it out. Um,
Definitely.
so and it's not like a huge game, so it's not a huge download or anything. So I mean, and it's easy. It's an easy enough concept to just start playing and then getting into. So it's easy
Yeah,
to
it
pick up
doesn't
and
get
play.
like absurdly difficult until like many covenants in. Like you can play a couple runs, just check it out to see if you like it, and then they basically, make it more and more difficult as you go, and it gets, super difficult. I'm on like Covenant 20 or 21 or something like that out of 25, and it's like brutal at this point. But they did a pretty good job with that.
I agree. All right, let's go to Jack. What you got for number 3?
Up to number 3. Next on the list for me was another great tactical RPG this year, Gears Tactics. It is one I did put a fair amount of hours into, and I think if you're just going off of like the gameplay itself, that Wasteland 3 I think is just overall a better game. But just because it's in the Gears theme, I was just really excited for them to sort of branch out like that into one of my favorite genres.
For sure. Yeah. For me, because again, had we had a top 10, Gears was my number 6.
Would have been on it.
So
Just missed
yeah.
it.
Oh,
So
just made it, or just
yeah.
missed it.
So I really like Gears Tactics. I like being able to customize all the characters and
There
do
was
like
a lot
different
to it,
armor and
yeah.
stuff. Like there's a ton of customization. There's a ton of different like the skill trees and how you want each character to play in certain ways. I think they did a good job with that because it completely changes your tactics and everything for each character. Yeah, I think they did a really good job of turning Gears into XCOM essentially.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I think they did a really good job with that game.
I'll throw in my 2 cents because Gears Tactics is my number 3 as well.
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll go right into that. Yeah, pretty much everything you guys said. I really enjoyed it. My only kind of gripes about it were basically that they're just it really suffered because it did not have like the XCOM kind of like base building / research kind of like
Yeah.
progression system. It ended up being kind of like, okay, I'm playing some side missions. None of the random loot I got was what I was looking for, so that was utterly pointless. Like you didn't really get anything out of it. Like like your guys pretty quickly you would not max out, but you would get to kind of the plateau of leveling. Um, so that was my only real gripe is like it needed a little bit more meta to keep it really like to really push it up to that kind of XCOM level. But like you guys said, like I mean, the world of Gears was perfect, a perfect choice for like the kind of squad-based tactical game.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed the kind of like boss fight story missions in it. I thought those were really well done. It got a little bit repetitive when they would force you to do like 3 or 4 side missions in between each one. Like I felt like they probably should have changed it to where it's like you have to do 2 side missions or you could do up to 4 side missions because like tying back to what I said before, like most of the side missions once I got kind of close to my what I wanted gear wise, I was just like, these are kind of pointless. Like they're just wasting my time really. So either they needed to add some kind of progression that each time I went out and gathered scrap or something, I could actually invest in better weapons instead of hoping I find them in a chest. But yeah, overall, I played it through. I beat it. It was really fun. I'll go back to it at some point to play some of the I forget, elite missions or master missions or whatever they're called. But yeah, solid game.
Hey, can I ask something just really quick? Because I didn't play the game, but I just want to ask, like, is there a story and is it like canon? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
it's
it's
early. Yeah.
it's a prequel to the first game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
just wish
it's
there were a
really
lot of,
cool.
like, I've always wished that, like, I think Final Fantasy 15 didn't do something exact like this, but like I think even like with Hitman and Tomb Raider, when they make these games where like they take a very good IP and they almost make like a tactics style, it just I always love those awesome things to it. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a good spin-off of it. Even like Halo Wars was a good spin-off
Yeah,
to Halo.
Yeah, that's the other one that it made me think of is like Halo Wars. It's sort of along the same vein where it's a good game, but it is like a pretty simplified RTS. Like it's no like command and conquer level like customization and micromanaging. But yeah, it's still a solid game, and just the fact that it's in like that one of your favorite like universes just adds that much more to it.
Yeah,
I would love to see a tactical RPG set in Halo, like basically the same thing with Gears. You could be like an ODST squad, like that's another one that just fits really well. It'd be great. Be a bunch of grunts, a couple elites. You gotta maneuver around since you're not a Spartan in this situation. So it would be like you can't just charge out and be like, "What's up?" Boom.
Yeah, I agree there. But yeah, I like how the story because the story also ties into, the current Gear stuff because you play as Kate's father in Gears Tactics, and Kate being the main character of 5 and basically like the main side character of 4. So yeah, I think they did a good job with that. Moudy, what do you got for number 3?
Number 3, I got surprise. I mean, I don't know if it's a surprise, but Ghost of Tsushima. I
knew it was in there, but I didn't know
be,
where, in the list.
Yeah, bro. When a game lets me go around slashing people, it's hard for me to say no to this game.
I'm beginning to see Moody's favorite types of games are.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, they're set up to be this like really intimate experience, but they still need to give you the option to just go ham and slaughter everything.
Use the wind to guide you. I'm like, does it point me in the direction where I can slay people?
Where is someone I can stab?
There's a fox. Is it taking me to a place where I can stab someone? A temple? I guess I'll go. It's like, yeah. No, but honestly, like, the gameplay in this game, like, I feel like when like Sucker Punch, I mean, before the game came out, there was such a quiet and such anticipation of like what they were going to do, because they just come off Infamous, and I mean, depending on how anyone felt about the last installment, but the game itself and the idea of Infamous was such a cool idea. It's such a really fun world to be in. I was obviously really excited just to see what they did, and the game mechanics in Ghost of Tsushima and the story I found were like just absolutely a blast to play through. Again, unfortunately, what I love is they have so much in this game. Like, one of the things I found amazing was it was so hard to stay on the main story. Not that it wasn't like interesting, it's just that every time you're on your way to something, they're like, there's a village over there, and the Mongols are like up in there, and they actually give you, and this is not like, I'm not going to dive into like the spoiler bit, but essentially as a samurai, you're supposed to fight with honor, but early on you realize that there are other tactics, such as like the ninja, and you learn that there's a fight between Jin Sakai's like morale, like, should I do the ninja route or should I like fight with honor? And they sort of give you this
No, Moudy did not fight with honor. Moudy just found any way to kill his enemy.
Right. No, because I said sometimes you're not gonna, like, no kidding. Like, there are certain stages and elements where you're like, it's just way easier to go in there and be like in the shadow, And like I said, no, I mean, I'll tell you right now, like I saw some guy on his bed, you can play a flute. I'm like, I'm gonna play a song just before I stab you, bro. But no, dude, I straight up. So actually, I went full on samurai mode because I just wanted to be the guy who you see some guys walking down the street with their horses. I'm just like, hey, you, come here, I'll fight you right now. And you just call them, and they'll literally come down and fight you, dude.
It's the classic samurai right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you!
That's exactly
Hey, you,
how I
let's
play.
fight.
Hey, fool, get your ass over here right now.
I'm a samurai.
Just tell every Mongol, hey, get off my front lawn, get off my yard, dude. The whole island's my yard. But like, dude, I'm just, and then they have, so apart from that, there's a lot of like really cool influences in the Japanese culture that you just really feel like you're learning as you go along. And the characters are compelling, and I feel like it's just a game that, especially if you're, I was about to say it's exclusive, right? Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can play this game, it's a highly recommended. You won't be able to stop playing the side missions, and then when you get a chance to get to the main story, you're captivated by that. And obviously, now that I can play on the PS5, they've actually done the whole like update. But from previous generation, this game is absolutely beautiful. Like the way they capture nature and everything, like it's not like so compared to like Last of Us 2, it's not realistic, but it's idealistic, you know. And there's just something about that that's like you're so engulfed in that moment. And I can't, and so it might not be like fidelity wise, but I find it to be one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen.
Well, it's also like, and I feel like a lot of people don't really ever give any credence to this, but like, you know, I haven't played either one. I do actually really want to play Ghost of Tsushima at some point,
Same.
but like, just from seeing a lot of screenshots and videos, etc., like in Ghost, they have these huge open areas, and you like Last of Us are these very tiny, cramped areas,
Yeah, it's
like
like
you
a
don't really
corridor.
see
Yeah.
out. And you can't, like, it's literally impossible. You're trading, you have a finite pool of resources. If you're only rendering one room, it can look amazing. If you're rendering this huge village with like, you know, all these fields out here, like you can't have the same fidelity as you can when you're rendering one little room. So again, I haven't played it yet, but like just from what I've seen, I do think Ghost has like really impressive. You mentioned nature, like really
It's breathtaking.
impressive kind of
Yeah.
like landscapes and those fields of like, you know, the tall grass kind of like rustling in the wind, and you know, like it is impressive. It looks good. And yeah, I do want to play that at some point. It's
Yeah.
not a lot of time in 2020.
Yeah.
I had a big list of like, I would like to play this.
Right?
It's no, but yeah, absolutely. And I just want to shout out really quick because like everyone's already said, out of nowhere they came out with a multiplayer for free, and the multiplayer is so amazing. It's like you can see like they essentially took all the already everything that's really awesome and gamified in the game, and they even gamified it more. Where like so if something is like so in the multiplayer, it almost touches the lore of like the Oni and the demons and like Japanese lore. So all of a sudden, a lot of the mechanics that were like you can technically say, oh, like you know, if it's like a demon, all of a sudden the ideas of what you can do with the game, like essentially expand even further. So the multiplayer is an absolute freebie, and it's like a amazing game too. And the last thing, soundtrack is one of the best. It's so good. The soundtrack is like breathtaking. They know how to hit you with the music every now and then. Like I'm telling you, it's like the guide. It's just lots of wind, lots of like I don't know. I'm just gonna ramble on.
Man, that was what, your number 3. I'm looking forward
was
to
your
your
number
top
three, yeah,
2.
right? How does it get any better than that?
I don't know. I feel like you guys can get an inkling of
Oxygen.
what my 1 or 2 is gonna be. I feel like you might know already.
So my number 3 also had a really great soundtrack in a completely different way, I'm sure. Spider-Man Miles Morales is my number 3. It's man, like it's definitely it definitely builds on the Spider-Man game they did a couple years ago, for sure. But this time playing as Miles Morales, he's definitely a different character than Peter. Like they both want to do good, but they are both in a little bit of a different situation. And Miles just feels like there's definitely a youthfulness to him and definitely like it feels he feels a lot more modern, but it's also you get a lot more of the different cultures that he comes from within that world, because he's black and he's what is I know it's Latin. I can't remember which nationality exactly it was, um, but them together, you can definitely feel it throughout his world, just from the neighborhood that he grows up in and the way he interacts with the other characters, and the soundtrack hits you in a certain way, and it's just really well done. And the fact that it's like a 15-hour experience essentially, like it's a nice small condensed story that just it feels like it can be really built on super well in the future. I'm interested to what they're going to do with the next Spider-Man game because I would assume they're probably going to have you play as both Peter and Miles and kind of have like the the dichotomy between them.
Yeah, I wonder if
And that
it'll be
sort of
like an
thing. So
Arkham Knight style thing where it's like you can play swap out both because I think that's how they're making Arkham
yeah,
Knights, isn't it? With the 4 characters.
I think so. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be something like that. I wonder if it's going to be a choose your own, or if certain missions you're Peter, certain missions you're Miles, that sort of thing.
It'll probably be based on what the movies do in the meantime. Like, what is the next one focused on, one or the other? Does it have all of them? Like, what's the kind of like
Well,
path that's gonna take? Because
well,
like
the
I'm sure they chose Miles Morales because of Into the Spider Verse, right? Like,
well, it also seems that's where they were going to. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
spoilers for Spider-Man that came out in 2018, but at the end of that game, you see Miles get his powers essentially.
No
So
way, he's
like
Spider-Man.
so.
wait a minute,
What?
Spider Man.
It's really cool in this game to see him. You see him coming to his own as Spider-Man because it's like for a part of it he's very much like living in the shadow of being like, can I be? Do I have a right to be called Spider-Man as well? And then you get that you feel that message from the people he interacts with too, and where it's like, hey, where's the real Spider-Man at? Like that
Wait,
sort of
how
thing. So
how
it's
old is he?
he's a teenager,
I
so
mean, that sounds
he's
like a
like
teenager thing. Yeah,
16.
that's so
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
okay. For some
That's
reason,
really
I
cool.
thought he was like I'm not a huge comic book dude, but I saw Into the Spider Verse, and for some reason, I thought he was younger. I was gonna say, wouldn't he be Spider Boy? But I think it's 16. You're Spider
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so like he's 16, and in this like in their universe for the games, Peter's been Spider-Man for like 8 or 9 years at this point. So it's kind of like,
I'm out.
he's
Yeah,
not
because
out.
like,
It's just
It's
yeah,
got to
he
be
he's
would be
hard on the
like,
body, man.
he's like in
yeah.
his 30, maybe he's 30, right, or something like that, or
I would say
late
probably
20.
late 20s,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He's got
That's
to
Okay.
about where
work on his
Peter's at, so
401k.
Yeah, dude.
He's got things to focus on.
but yeah, I mean but there's definitely a difference between what each character is looking for and what their story is and that sort of thing. I think they do a good job of making Miles mean more, at least in this universe, because it's separate from the movies and it's separate from the comics, so it's like it's
Mhm.
its own thing, um, which can be confusing if you if you like all of those things. Um, but I think they did a good job of making you really like Miles Morales as a character and liking the people around him, um, and how he has. It seems like where Peter tries to have everything on his shoulders, Miles ends up realizing that one of his better strengths is in his community and those around him. So it's definitely a different story, and again,
Sounds like a millennial
but
passing the buck.
but like the soundtrack and the soundtrack and everything is really cool, and it definitely has like that hip hop flavor that you
Mhm.
saw like into the Spider Verse and stuff like that. But they do a good job of meshing that in with even with they have like some missions like so there's like the Sounds of the City mission where you are actually going around the city trying to find sounds that like different things in the city make, like it might be the train that's making this sound or something else, and you collect these sounds to make like a hip hop track that his dad and his dad's brother and his uncle were working on at some point. Like it's stuff like that. Like yeah, like they do a lot of cool stuff to flesh out the world. So like you understand where Miles is coming from, you understand his interests, and you understand all the characters that have informed his life to this point. So they do a good job. Like I really like. It was a very awesome game. Like, and I cheated and I played it in the past week. So,
Oh, disqualified.
Yeah.
I played it in 2021. But
I played it today, and I just want to say, like, you know,
guys, I'm playing it right now.
I'm playing it right now. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's number 1.
but it was, but it was just kind of one of those. It was one of those experiences where like I needed it at the time. Like it was a good take my mind off of stuff kind of game. So yeah, it's totally worth playing. And I mean, I played it on a PS4, and honestly, like I know the PS5 version probably looks a bit better, but I like the load times were fine. Like I didn't notice it. Like even when I died and had to reload, like it wasn't a bad load time or anything. So like I would say it runs just as well on PS4 as it will on a PS5. So if you're someone that's waiting to get a PS5 before playing it, I mean, I would say you don't have to. I would say it works just, and I have a launch PS4, so it's an old ass PS4, and it runs just fine.
Engine.
So
you have a jet engine PS4.
yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's what I have too.
See, mine doesn't have the jet engine quite as much as it has the I'm gonna randomly spit out discs because I don't like them. Problem.
Disc shooter.
What is this?
I didn't have the jet engine problem at first, but now after playing, like, my primary is now my Series X. Anytime I turn on any other console, I'm like, holy hell, what is going on?
Yeah,
like, why is this so loud? Because like, you know, yeah, exactly. Before that, I didn't really like notice. I was like, yeah, consoles make a little bit of noise. But now I'm like, oh my God, like I'm pretty sure the PS5 is also like really quiet. So I'm sure like going from either one of those and then going back, you're like, wow.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think it's trying to take off. It goes.
But I know,
like, there we go.
Yeah,
I know too. Generally, the PS4 does get louder over time, just because it's starting to die. But
I do remember, I think I was Bloodborne. I was playing on my PS4 a couple of times. Playing that, it would be like,
yeah,
and I was just like, wow, dude.
Yeah, certain games, but like for me, for some reason the disc shooting problem. There's like, if you remove like the top thing to where the hard drive is, like you have to kind of finagle around, and there's like this screw that like literally like loosens for some reason. But if you tighten that screw up, then it doesn't spit out discs.
Weird.
So, but over time you'll have to do it again, because like every 6 months or so it comes back to like, hey, I'm gonna keep spitting out these discs.
And it starts spitting out the discs.
Time to tighten the screw.
But it's terrible when you're playing, because I rented it from GameFly, so it's like I have it on a disc. Like, so at one point it's just like I'm like playing, and it's like disc spit out, and it's like like, all right.
It sounds like this is the case for you to go for all digital PS5, so you don't have to worry about discs spit out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, man, that's the future. But then I can't rent games, so that's the downside.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's an awesome game. Well worth playing. Let's get into number 2. Let's pick on Jack Steele.
Jack Steele sucks.
Oh man,
picking on Jack Steele.
We're not even gonna ask his number 2. Let's just make
just skip right over it. For me, it was also sort of a game that was like take your mind off things. I got really into it right when it first came out. The new Animal Crossing.
Nice.
I didn't know that was going to be on your list, but as soon as you said that, I was like, I bet he's going to say Animal Crossing.
It's Animal Crossing, yeah. Just with the timing of when the game was released, I was like perfect for it. But yeah, I ended up playing a lot of that with my friend, and it was great that you could just go around, visit your friends' islands, message them, be like, hey, you want to You want to come hang out on Animal Crossing since we can't go anywhere?
Did you have Elijah Wood visiting your island?
I didn't.
Damn
And
it.
you know what? He's not welcome there.
You can put up a sign that says, no Elijah Wood.
Get out.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, and I've always enjoyed the games in the past.
Yeah.
So I still would have picked it up and played it, but I got really into it when it first came out. It's a lot of fun, and I like that I think it's another game that they're still like continuously pumping out content for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Don't
because
they
they have
have,
the
like-
events.
Yeah, events
Yeah.
for like every season. Like I didn't realize that the weather changes. Like so, it's snowing here. It
Mhm.
snows in the game. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I picked it up the other day, and I think there's some sort of like scuba diving now. Like there's a lot of
Oh,
stuff that I had no idea like what I was doing. It was like a whole new game at this point.
No, that's really cool. Like it feels like Animal Crossing was the game of 2020 in like the sense that like it came out at like the right time during the perfect year for it. Because
Yeah.
it was just it came out right as quarantine happened for everybody. So it was kind of one of those things where like, hey, you're trapped in a house now. What are we gonna do? Oh well, I guess we're all gonna play Animal
I
Crossing.
guess I'll.
It's
Yeah.
beginning to look like a Nintendo plot then.
Mm.
They're like, how can we make sure Animal Crossing sells really well?
Well, their CEO is Bowser, so
Oh, right, yeah.
it's all clicking now.
Yeah.
Man.
It makes sense.
Look forward to next week, our, conspiracies in the game industry podcast.
Completely factual. 100% accurate. Yeah.
Hey, if I've learned anything on the internet, it's that you can make a claim with zero support and just people will believe it. So
Unfortunately, that is
Yep.
true. So Kent, what do you got for number 2?
my number 2 is Wasteland 3. Like Jack said, earlier, and we kind of touched on it a couple of, so I don't have too much new to say. I played through it. I'm actually, for a long time, I thought this was going to be my game of the year. I'm sure you guys know what my actual game of the year is, because I've been ranting and raving about it for however long. But yeah, I really loved this game. I like the Wasteland series. Like it kind of scratches that itch for the old school Fallout games because we don't really do them anymore. But like, I enjoy the Bethesda Fallout games, but they're not quite the same as like Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, the like old school. But Wasteland, like, it's still in that same vein. It's still that kind of tactical CRPG feel. It's still got the like absurd humor and like, they still, one of the skills is toaster repair, so that you can repair toasters you find in the world. And like the skill for being stealthy is called sneaky shit. Like it's just like
Accurate.
that kind of humor I love it. It literally made me laugh out loud a couple of times. The actual combat is really good. It's pretty brutal if you play on the more difficult difficulties, which of course I do. And yeah, I enjoyed it start to finish. I'm definitely going to replay it once there's a little bit more like DLC or content for it. I'm sure they're going to bring something out. And there's different ways to play and different factions to join. So I'm looking forward to giving it another shot and kind of playing in a completely different way than I did the first time. And there's a lot to it. So definitely worth checking out if you're into that style of games. And it's on Game Pass, of course. So no real reason unless you don't like that type of game.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's on Game Pass. Go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go play it. Moudy, what's your number 2?
My number 2. Well, my number 2, I feel like is not a
It looks
shocker
like he's thinking about it right now. He's
I
making it
know.
up as he goes.
No, I'm trying to think because I feel like I've talked about this game quite a lot already. And I'm just like, how am I going to go about this? But I guess I'll just go about it as I would, which is it's Final Fantasy VII. And the reason it's actually not my number 1 is I'm just being real that I never actually got a chance to beat this game, even though I absolutely love every bit of it that I played.
Yeah.
And look, this is like I don't know what I've done, like, but I feel like I've never done this for a game, and that's not necessarily I don't know. I just got in this weird mode. So in this game, you can actually like run around and stuff. Not too much. It's quite linear.
Yeah,
And
Cool.
kill everyone.
And kill everyone.
yeah.
Then you put these marbles in your blade, then you can kill them faster. No, I'm joking. Like, no, but like, I I've been walking the entire time. Like, in the
Yeah.
game, there's like a cutscene. They're like, run, and I'm like, if I don't see a countdown, I'm like, I'll see you when I get there. It's like I'll get there.
Nah, I'm gonna
Take your
casually
time,
stroll.
Because I said we all know the demo in the beginning of the game where there's like a countdown. So that's the only part that I practically ran. But there are other parts where like, we gotta go now, and I'm like, I don't see a timer, so I'm gonna enjoy the view.
What's over here? What's over here?
And there's and it's one of those things where like again this game and like I guess I don't know how to put this down in words, but when it comes to like fidelity, it's not
Yeah.
the best looking, but the way like let's talk about like if we're talking about composition or the gestalt of things, there's something so uncanny about this game about like when you're under oh my god I'm gonna forget but like under the under mid is it mid I'm about to say Midgard thank you yeah. Just like honestly the way they set it up you feel so I kept feeling like I was in this game. I was so immersed, and I just wanted to give like my hats off to these guys because I don't think, and I think I said this last time, but I don't think there is a single game where the expectation, unless it's Half-Life 3 or 4, like I don't think there's any expectation that could have been like overstated, and they actually like excelled beyond our expectations. And I can't wait to actually have time to like play this game because, like I said, I do want to appreciate it for everything it is, and yeah, they just did a fantastic job.
It's
Don't worry, man. Once every piece of art is done for Externus,
Yeah,
you can play it. That's all you got to do. So just
Yeah.
hop on that real quick.
it's just
I can enjoy myself create walking simulator. Just like I'm gonna walk around as Cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
so for me, my number 2 was also Final Fantasy VII. So
All right, guys.
Yeah,
I got to take back what I said earlier about how I was really impressed that we all have different lists.
I know, right?
Yeah, it turns out not a whole lot of variance. But
Yeah, whatever.
But no, Final Fantasy VII, they did an awesome job of taking a game that is a classic and completely changing it and making it something different. Like it while making it still feel like it's the same, like it feels like it's that same game, but it's also so different from the original game that it also feels like a new experience. So it's like coming home, but there's a bunch of improvements at your house. Like I don't know how else to like. That's a very moody way to
I
put
love
it.
when
but
that happens. Come home and I got a
I
hot
appreciate
tub.
that,
All right.
right, yeah, like it's just it's one of those things where like you feel the nostalgia in every little thing it does. It's just oozing nostalgia, but like the combat is new and different, but really fun to play. The characters, they flesh out so many of those characters. Like I actually care about like Jesse and Biggs and Wedge as characters now because they actually flesh them out and they don't just have like 5 lines and they're dead. So
Yeah.
like in the original, like it's and yeah, sorry if I'm spoiling a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, you just spoiled that. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, oops.
But they may or may not be dead in the remake. You'll have to play it to find out.
Oh, they're dead.
I think
The
I think
truth
that-
actually may surprise you.
I think I like- Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say I really like that you said that idea of nostalgia and the experience because, like you said, I feel like they do nostalgia so well, but it's not completely reliant on that. The game just feels like a great game, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it feels like a great game, even though and it truly is a remake.
Yeah.
Because there are certain beats and certain things they change in the game. So, and if you play through to the end, which Moudy will find out, it'll completely blow your mind, and it completely changes how the next game will go. Like it's not going to be the same as it was before. That's for sure. So I'm
You
very
calmly
interested.
Walk to the end of the game.
I know.
That's important.
I would
no
say
more
yes.
timers.
So.
Yeah, no. Even on the bike, I was like, "Can I pedal instead of driving so fast? It's too fast."
He just puts
too
it in
fast for me.
park and kind of like waddles it down.
Yeah. Do. Like all the cars like beeping, like hurry up, man. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, for a game that I had no confidence in, essentially, when they announced it, I was like, I don't know about this. Like they actually like when obviously they probably had a little bit of trouble development at some point because they took it away from the one studio and started to redo the remake essentially. But what they came out with was awesome, and I can't wait for them to come out with the next part. And it's. I'm very curious to see where they're going to take the story because it is going to be different than what happened in the original Final Fantasy VII. So I'm very curious as to where they're going with it. And well, it's Square Enix, so it's either going to be like really cool or it's going to be Kingdom Hearts.
Which is really cool. Just saying.
Yeah, it's cool. You just don't really know what's going on.
I was going to say it's cool, but like in the Kojima Metal Gear way, you have no fucking clue what's happening. But
I can honestly say that I played all the way through Metal Gear 5 and I have no idea what happened or what that story was. I'm just
Exactly.
like, what? Philanthropist? Like, what?
What you call me? You call me a
Yeah, what is this robot guy? Okay, so he's a Metal Gear, all right. And then who's this guy? Oh my god, what am I doing here?
Yeah, don't worry.
Skullface?
All you gotta do is play Peace Walker and play every other side game to understand, and then you'll understand. I'm
This is why I
sure.
don't watch the Marvel movies. I like go to watch an Avengers movie. I'm like, what the hell who is this guy? Like, what are they referencing?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you're missing out. You're missing out. Anyway, yeah, it's I hope it goes in the direction of something really cool that like actually that I can understand. I really do. But I like where they're going with it for sure. So
You're all gonna have no idea what's happening unless you go back to what was that, like Advent Children, that movie from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dig up a copy of that to understand.
Hey, I call that classic right there.
There we go. Moody has a copy. He's ready for a movie. Now.
I have it somewhere. I do because I
Get
know
it
when
from
it came
EB?
out. I did, yeah.
I knew it.
I was
I
gonna
knew
say,
it.
yeah.
3
Yeah,
for
just-
10 or whatever it was.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
sure, just wait till Kingdom Hearts. You know, when they work with Disney and Marvel joins in the fun, they're gonna put that Marvel in there, and it's gonna be even more like confusing.
That's true.
They're like, so how are these guys in Star Wars? I guess like how they all get in there.
It's gonna be like, oh man, I'm only the ultimate superhero, but you know who I could really use to help me fight? Goofy.
Goofy. And
I
they're like,
really
oh,
need
and
his shield.
also he's like, and my friend Thanos here comes out. It's like Mickey and Thanos combined forces.
I'll never
sorry, I
get
derailed
Kingdom
this.
Hearts.
I derailed this.
I can't. I just can't. Like Genevieve will play Kingdom Hearts, and I'm just like, what? Like, there's a super serious thing happening, and then Donald Duck comes out, and it's like Donald Duck voice, and I'm like, no, just no.
Look, I said, Jack, he's leaving. He's so pissed he's leaving. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
even
done.
want to hear this no more. He's like, I'm
No,
out.
Jack yelling at the cat
Yes, I was yelling at my cat
for everybody
now.
to see
Just
now. On
crawling around.
I
Yeah.
know you're gonna get banned from Twitch.
Well, luckily we're not on Twitch, so
We don't have a Twitch account. Oh, we need a Twitch
well
account.
we're not. We have one. We're just not streaming.
Oh
it.
yeah, we're
Just
gonna get
on
banned.
But yeah, so that's my number 2. I'm pretty sure I know what Kent's number 1 is, so we're not going to go to him
Not necessarily.
because I think it's my number 1
Could
too.
be anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. You'll be surprised.
A lot of games came out.
So I'm actually going to go back to Moody.
Hey,
Moody, what you got?
for number 1.
What you got for number 1?
Hold on, he's got to look something up really quick.
Yeah. My number 1 is no, it's my number 1
Path of
because
the
I beat
Safari.
it and I love it is the new, I guess it's I think it's a PS5, so it's a new console game only, is Demon Souls. Surprise, it's a Souls game.
Yeah,
Shocker.
uses
remake,
oxygen.
yeah.
Honestly, like since I think even like I'm trying to remember because the one I can only come to my mind is for Blue Point is Shadow of Colossus, but yeah, these guys, man, they when it comes to these remakes, as you said, in a way they really know how to, in a sense, because their whole objective obviously is to remake the game so that it just visually and everything works. And I mean, dude, this game, I've never been one to be like about the graphics too much. Like I like good graphics, but when I really played Demon Souls, I remember being like, there is like it's like that trailer when we first saw it. I just remember being like, that can't be real. I said that's what we always see when we, it's kind of like the hype trailer that they're making as a way to focus on what they're trying to actually achieve. And I just remember being like, that's what it is. That's it can't be that. But when you play this game and they have a photo mode, so you know me, I love my photo mode. This game, I'm like, I'm not even trying, but like it's immaculate, dude. How pretty this game is, dude. The
But
amount of
so for those that don't know, Moody has a degree in photography, so it makes sense that he loves the photo modes.
yeah, bro. I'm gonna say if I could like I just have them. I don't even know what to do with them. I just take pictures. But like, apart from that, like as a Souls game, this definitely is. You can feel the origins of like if you played Dark Souls or Bloodborne or even Sekiro, you can see a lot of it. So it's actually, I would actually say that if anyone's really interested and is like in like has a new console, this is definitely the one to start with because it is actually I think the easiest one. So, but they got some amazing little mechanics. But the game essentially is has a really cool story that you just kind of it allows you to kind of investigate and be in. And yeah, I mean I don't know, I really don't know what to say. I just like I said,
I mean, it looked incredible from all the video I saw of it before it came out. So it's definitely not my kind of game, but it looks really good.
yeah, it's the kind of game that if you like to get your ass kicked and just die and die and die and then maybe one day you'll beat the boss. This is the game for you.
I
Right.
kind of knew what your top three were, Moody, but I didn't know in what order you were going to place them.
Like I said, it's a close with Final Fantasy 7. Like, but again, I had to give Demon Souls because like I was able to actually see because like so the story does exist in this game, but like it's a story that they give you bits and pieces through evidence, and you can kind of just as you're doing the gameplay, the characters and the enemies all kind of develop the story. So it was very easy to be mindless but experiencing the story. So it was a kind of like oddly enough, this was my relaxed game, if that makes sense. I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, highly
Yeah.
recommend it. It's exclusive. Like I mean, next gen exclusive that you should definitely get if you're interested in those kind of games. And I mean, thank you, Blue Point. I mean, it's mwah, like chef's kiss, dude.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
just as a reference, yeah, Blue Point is very much a remake studio. They did the remake of Shadow of the Colossus. They did the remastered port of Gravity Rush for PS4, and they also did the Nathan Drake collection.
Yes. And they left us with that obscure, like at one point they made a tweak with like every freaking like from like Metal Gear to Castlevania to all these other games, and I think including Demon Souls. So at this point, I can only like I cannot wait to see what they get their hands on next.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, because it seems like that's their thing is doing the remakes.
Yeah.
So we'll see where they go from here. But yeah, it looked really good. And I think it's one of those that like it since it was like the first one of those, but it was like on PS3, and I don't think it was very very niche at the time. I don't think a lot of people actually played it. I think Dark Souls was most people's introduction to those games. So I think it was cool for them to re-release that one for
Yeah,
sure.
there must have, like you said, it seems like I don't know the full story, but it like since Sony actually owns Demon Souls, and they simply sounds like it clearly sounds like they made Dark Souls so they didn't have to continue Demon Souls on everyone's platform. It seemed like
Yep.
maybe Sony didn't realize what they had, I guess, and then eventually they came back with the Bloodborne exclusive. But I mean, this is me just guessing, so I don't know. But,
I think that's definitely the case. Is I don't think at the time because
yeah,
like I said, I think it was one of those like niche titles that I don't think they knew what to do with, and I don't think
right.
it like I'm sure it did well enough, but it didn't do like crazy like God of War or
Mm,
Uncharted numbers or something like that. So they weren't
No, it
like,
was it
hey,
was pretty
let's
early in the PS3 life cycle too, and they PS3 had a pretty rocky launch, and
oh
yeah
like
yeah.
you guys said, like Dark Souls when it came out was like, everyone played it. It was like the thing.
Mhm.
Even though, Demon Souls was not the same game, but like the same idea.
Yeah, it was basically the precursor to Dark Souls,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah, it wasn't really a household name until Dark Souls, so I think you're right. Like I know a lot of people either didn't play it or a lot of people did play it, but it was after like all the servers had shut down, so they didn't get the full experience of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I actually played the original Demon Souls, but it was not my thing. So that's why when Dark Souls came around, I was like, no thanks. Um, but that's just that's my own personal preference. Because I know plenty of people who love those games, including Moody. So
Oh yeah, Oxygen, man. That's
Wait,
my
wait,
oxygen.
Yep.
Moudy likes those games?
Yeah.
So Jack Steele, what you got for your number one?
Number one for me ended up being one you guys mentioned already. The Final Fantasy VII remake.
There we
Just
go.
you guys covered everything for that. Like, I thought it was amazing how like the first point I hit where I realized like, wait, this isn't just like them telling. This is actually like a different game
Mhm.
that I'm playing, a whole different story. And like you had mentioned, like when I first heard that they were doing this, I was like, that's a terrible idea.
Mhm.
That is one of the games that people love, and you don't want to touch it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because if
they,
you screw it up, you'll hear about
yeah,
it.
you'll have a lot of angry people. But they somehow managed to just like blow away everyone's expectations and delivered like an amazing game. And I also didn't finish it, but just even from what I played, yeah, it was awesome.
It's
Too busy
very
walking around.
Yeah, no, I ran from time to time. I don't know.
it is very much worth finishing. So I would highly recommend doing so whenever you get the time because it's very good, very awesome. And it like after I beat that game, I literally had to like scour the internet and get like to to see what other people thought was going to happen and
Like their
like
theories and everything.
yeah,
Oh
exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And like I found like podcasts I listened to had done spoiler casts that I skipped because I didn't want to know. So like I'd go
Right.
back and listen to those and like that sort of thing. So it's like kind of one of those where it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. I need to talk about it with everybody. So
Isn't that such a great thing when a game can do that? Just like
Yeah.
your instant is like I have to run to someone, and be like, we need to talk. Like we gotta talk about it. It's such a great feeling. Yeah.
definitely. Um, so Kent, I'm pretty sure our number one is the same. So
Say it
what's
together.
your number one?
Monster Energy Supercross 3.
I knew it.
Good choice.
Yeah, of
Good
course.
choice.
As you all know, I've been talking about that game for quite some time.
Yeah, saw this one coming.
No, I mean anyone who's listened to this before and everyone who knows me knows it's Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yeah, that's my number one as well.
I have been just raving about this game for a while, and I can't say enough good. Like the longer it goes, the more fondly I look back on it, and like I mentioned, I'm playing Dragon Quest right now, and like it's a great game, but I just keep being like, man, this is rough going back to like a traditional, like pretty old school feeling JRPG, whereas like Yakuza, like a Dragon, just moved everything forward. Like everything it did was just in a better. It was like taking the classic JRPG formula and doing it in a better way. And like, I mean, the characters were all amazing. Like the voice acting was amazing. The music was amazing. The gameplay, like I put 100 some hours in. I still haven't done all the post game content stuff. I can't say enough about it. It's my favorite JRPG, and I don't know how long. Easily of last generation. I think the last JRPG that I have probably enjoyed this much was Lost Odyssey. I would say, but like just an example of how good it is like I know everyone loses their shit for Persona, and like at the time I played Persona and loved it. I was like, oh, this is so good. But now, having played both, I look back and I'm like, wow, Persona wasn't that great. Like the characters were super stereotypical, like very bland. Like the last couple of dungeons in it, I just was bored with. Like there just wasn't like the what was it, the Link quest, or I'm totally blanking on what they were called, where you like go out with your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Those were really cool still, but like I don't know, I felt again, going back to the characters, like they were all just so stereotypical anime characters. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
here's the punk who used to be a sports guy, but he had a troubled past, like Ryuji just had and you're like, yeah, I know. You can almost predict what they're going to say, like before they say it, because you're like, yeah, your stereotype would do this. And it's like, here's the otaku, or here's the weeb, and she has trouble coming out of her home, but she's really into anime. And it's just like, yeah, come on. But like all of the characters in Yakuza felt real. Like I laughed when, like Nanba and Ichiban are like bickering at each other, because I was just like, that's how, you guys and I bicker at each other. It's like kind of like giving each other shit. Like the relationship between all the main party members felt so real. And I don't want to get into any spoilers, but like the last fight of the game did something that I've just literally never seen before, like in any game ever. And I was like, that's so interesting. Like, and anyone who wants to talk about it with me after, we can discuss it, if you want to know kind of what I'm talking about. But it was just, I don't know, I can go on and on, but I'll stop. But like, yeah, I just play the game if you haven't. If you have any interest in RPGs, like it just gets better and better and better as you play through it. It's like it takes those amazing Yakuza characters and stories and world and just takes it one step further, to where I'm actually going to have some difficulties going back, because I haven't played 3, 4, 5, 6. I've played 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to have some difficulties going back because like Kiryu is cool, and like, but man, Ichiban is my man.
Ichiban is
Like I
definitely a
love
different character.
Ichiban,
Yeah.
dude. I relate so much with him, and like Kiryu is just kind of like, I am very stoic and have
Yeah.
honor. Like
Whereas
that's it. That's his personality.
Whereas Ichiban is like he's like this flawed, like, but like he's such,
Lovable
yeah,
goofball, but he's a good guy. He like
yeah, like he has like a heart of gold, but like
yeah.
he's very much flawed.
He fails
But in
all
the
the
best
time.
way.
Like you try to
Exactly.
do
Yeah.
things and you fail completely, and it's just like, all right. But then he won't give up, and he keeps trying, and he like calls on his friends to help him out, and like you fail again, but then you try it again, and
And
then it
like
just kind of stumbles into the correct thing, and you're like, go Ichiban.
and the things I love too is like that build him and his character relationships with the other members of the party. When you build up the one bar to where they have a connection thing, and you go to the bar, and then those little stories that you have, they're just small little stories that you have with a single party member, and basically it ends up with Ichiban giving them advice, and depending on what kind of advice you give them, he'll level up like a certain skill based on like how you answer that, and like just the way they do that stuff is awesome. And it definitely, it feels like, yeah, Ichiban's his own character, but it also feels like you have some agency over how your Ichiban reacts in a way. Like it's just really well done. Like I'm not even like, I don't even know if I'm halfway through the damn game, but it's just so good that like that I know. Um, yeah, and it's awesome because I just found out that the digital version of it also works on PC, so I can have it
Nice.
both on my PC and Xbox. So I can just play it wherever I am at the time. So. Uh, which is very nice, and it and the load times are much better on PC than they are on Xbox One.
That's a good. I did, yeah. Asterisk. I played it on Series X, where I had like no load times, to the point where I couldn't even read like the loading
yeah,
tips.
yeah,
But I can imagine it being a little bit rough on like
it's
OG Xbox One.
it is rough on OG Xbox One, I will say, with the load times, and even playing on PC, it looks way better. So, because I have a good PC, so yeah, but like I love it. Like it doesn't matter. Like the looks of it didn't matter. The load times didn't matter. because I've played most of it on my Xbox, and I just love how it plays. I love even the fact that you can set it to automatically do the fights for you if it's like a low level fight and you're just like whatever. Because like you'll just be strolling through town and there will be like these low level punks and it's just like I'm not gonna waste my time. I just hit L and then it just does the fight for me. Like,
Yep.
Some things never change.
yeah. So, but it feels like all the Yakuza games. It feels like the world is an actual world that you're living in and a part of, and like the side stories are like my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They're so goofy but like
the Rem
but there's
Rams, dude. I spent so
Yeah,
much
dude.
time with the Rem Rams.
there's so much stuff that like man I just it's so goofy but it has a ton of heart and I love playing it. Like there's just and I every time after every mission I look around the whole map looking to see if there's side stories because like I want to do them all and that's why I'm not very far because anytime I see a side story I do a side story. So
Oh yeah, same thing. That's why it took me 100 some hours before I actually beat the game.
yeah. So it's man, more people should be playing that damn game.
I was really worried that like it was going to completely fly under the radar because I just didn't hear that many people talking about it. But then I read an article earlier today actually that said Sega was super happy with the way it performed in out west in the West. So I was like, yes, because like as much as I love the Yakuza, like the older Yakuza games in that style, I really hope that they continue both with Ichiban and in the RPG style because like there's so much more to do with those characters and like I would love to continue seeing kind of what happens after this game and the RPG style it's better like it's just more enjoyable to play like the here and there battles I think.
Yeah, I mean I don't mind the action style of the older games. But I do like the turn-based combat of the newer games. So that's not a deal breaker for me, but I do like I just think I think the characters are probably like it. I like Ichiban more than I like Kiryu, but I don't think Kiryu's a bad character. It's just they're different people. You can almost say it's like it's a difference in their time periods of when they're growing up in a sense because like Kiryu's like 10 years older than Ichiban, so it makes a ton of sense. Like it's very much a generational shift between the two of them. Like the old school Yakuza and Ichiban's idea of what the old school Yakuza is, even if it's not actually what they are. So it's his idealized ideal Yakuza. So
it's also like you said the difference between the characters and they're so different and like people are constantly making fun of Ichiban. They're like, "Hey, shrubhead," you know, because of his absurd hair. And like, you can imagine if anyone did that to Kiryu, it'd be fighting. But Ichiban just like kind of laughs it off, and he's like, you know, I was trying to get I can't press perm or whatever it was, but like they didn't know what it was because like his hairstyle went out of fashion while he's in prison. And so he tried to get his old hairstyle because at the beginning of the game he has like a normal hairstyle, but then he gets this absurd hairstyle and then he just keeps it because like everyone's always making fun of him. Throughout the entire game people make fun of his hair.
Yeah. It's really great. It's awesome.
But,
go play it.
100%.
Everybody go play it. Go get it.
Do it now.
Once you get it.
Let's do it.
That's it. Is that so?
Yeah.
Is that our number ones all through?
Yeah. That is our lists.
Nice.
So yeah, you can agree with us, disagree with us, fight us about it if you want. You can now leave those comments on YouTube. If they're mean, I won't read them.
I will.
Just understand
I will fight you. I will. You
Kent
a bull. I'll be like, come fight me in a boxing match.
Yeah. If you're you're on YouTube, feel free to like, comment, hit subscribe. Is now a thing we need to tell you. Or if you just like
smash that bell.
smash the bell, smash it. Yeah, make sure you do that, and we appreciate you checking out the podcast, whether it's on YouTube or whether you're listening to the audio version. We're still putting that out, so you can continue to get that on a semi-regular basis. I won't say weekly because we don't always put it out weekly, but we put it out pretty regularly. So
if you have a topic you want to hear, let us know. We a couple topics and questions and stuff have shown up in our Discord, and you can do the same if you watch the YouTube version. Just be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. Good
And
question.
I want to hear about your favorite greetings. We'll do a whole podcast. It'll last 4 minutes.
And if you want to join our Discord, you can do that by going to bit.ly/winterdiscord. That'll pop right up, and you can join the Discord. So yeah, do that. All the cool kids are doing it. So
there are some cool kids. There are a lot of corgi pictures in there.
There are, yeah. One of our Discord, one of our Discorders. I don't know what to call.
I believe they're called
That's-
Discordians.
One of our Discordians, Stumpy the dog posts about Stumpy the dog. So
Yeah, pretty great.
there's some pretty great corgi pics up there. But anyways, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you to Moody, Jack, and Kent for joining me today to talk about our favorite games of 2020.
Yeah, thanks for putting on clothes, guys. I know that was difficult for some people. There was a whole thing when we were talking about putting video on it. That's why Boo wouldn't come. He just refused.
Yeah,
Flat out refused.
He was like,
I ain't nature. That's what he said.
Yeah. He's out in the woods, nude as the day he was born.
Bare as bear can be.
Yeah.
It's come up with a little slogan.
He was like, I ain't wearing no shirt, Trevor. That's what he said.
That was a good Boo.
Is that why he sent you that picture? Trevor is dead. He did not tolerate your.
That's exactly what it was.
Trevor is now dead to him because he was like, "Can you please put on a shirt?"
Exactly what happened. And I'm just like, Boo, it's snowing. What are you doing?
Lots of drama here.
He's like, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
right.
Thank you guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye.
See ya.